Emmy-winning actor and rapper Riz Ahmed. He earned his first Oscar nomination this year for his compelling performance in Sound of Metal. Ahmed is the first Muslim ever nominated for Best Actor. It's also been nearly 20 years since a man of Asian heritage was nominated in the category. The visceral, low-budget film was shot in just 26 days and is up for 6 awards, including Best Picture. Ahmed says the project was an unusual but welcome challenge.
Your hearing is deteriorating rapidly.
In Sound of Metal, Riz Ahmed transforms into Ruben Stone, a heavy metal drummer and recovering heroin addict who suddenly loses his hearing.
I can't hear you. Do you understand me? I can't. I'm deaf. I'm deaf.
You invested an awful lot in this part.
Yeah, it was very demanding.
In the 7 months Ahmed was preparing for the role, the 38-year-old became fluent in American Sign Language, immersed himself in addiction recovery groups, and spent hours each day with his drum instructor.
You know, typically 2 of us just stripped down to our socks and our underpants, just sweating in his basement, doing solos.
How hard did you find it learning the drums?
I found it very hard. I'm not gonna lie. I had hoped that being a rapper would help me. I was very much wrong.
Your director in Sound of Metal, Darius Marder, described you as a shapeshifter. Is that accurate?
I grew up in a way that meant I had to shift my shape a lot. It was about surviving socially. And I think I certainly, for some of my career, at least up until this point, was interested in shape-shifting and transforming out of myself. And I think now I'm interested in more is going to a personal place.
Some of his most personal work is as a musician, rapping under the alias Riz MC.
Once we were kings, when will we be kings? No more Salah, Mo Salah, we believe in.
Last year, he released a critically acclaimed concept album under his own name called The Long Goodbye.
I'll put my truth in his sound. I'll spit my truth in his flow.
Ahmed learned to captivate crowds at a young age, growing up in North London.
I started rapping as soon as I discovered my brother's hidden stash of hip-hop cassettes that he told me explicitly not to listen to because they had swearing on them. So as soon as he left the house as a 10-year-old, I was there just memorizing Wu-Tang Clan lyrics. I always felt like there was this volcano inside of me bursting to get out.
When did you first start acting?
I think in a way I've been acting since I was a young kid. I came from a working class Pakistani household, but then I got scholarships to go to predominantly white, upper class, private schools. So I kind of in a way felt like I was changing costume, changing character every day growing up. But it was really some school teachers that realized that, okay, this kid's got a bit too much hyperactive energy. We need to do something with it. It was really something that anchored me through teenage years that were, you know, somewhat troubled.
But Ahmed never imagined he could make a career of performing.
I'm curious if there was one particular direction you thought you might be headed in.
Yeah, I thought I was headed in the direction of not being able to do any of it. and that was interesting in a way, you know, to kind of enter a profession with no expectations. Can actually be very liberating because you dance like no one's watching. No one is watching.
Ahmed was in a string of indie films in the UK, but had yet to make it big.
I was thinking of giving up acting at that point because I'd really hit a wall in my career.
Then came a pivotal audition to co-star with Jake Gyllenhaal in the 2014 thriller Nightcrawler.
Initially, were you told you weren't right for that part?
Yeah, very much so.
Making peace with what you don't have, that's what it's all about.
That again kind of took a certain pressure off. I think I kind of thrive in situations where people don't see me coming.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of probably enjoy being the underdog.
He got a call back.
They said in order to get to the next round, you have to come to LA, but we can't fly you out there. So pretty much with what I had left in my bank account, I booked that flight and thought I'd just take a chance.
The breakout role launched Ahmed's career in the US, finally opening doors to high-profile films and franchises like Star Wars Rogue One and Marvel's Venom. And he was cast as the protagonist in the gripping HBO drama The Night Of.
Riz Ahmed.
The Night Of.
That performance won him the Lead Actor Emmy in 2017. He was the first Asian and first Muslim to win the award.
If this show has shone a light on some of the prejudice in our society, Islamophobia, some of the injustice in our justice system, then maybe that's something.
And while Ahmed could make history at this year's Academy Awards, he says the real win is seeing new kinds of stories on screen.
We all know what it is to feel like an outsider. And so for myself, with this character and with this project, it was really fascinating to play someone who falls between the cracks of hearing culture and deaf culture. And what he realizes is the same thing that I realized, and I hope audiences do, which is that deafness actually isn't a disability. For many people, it's a culture.
Have you given any thought to a speech, an acceptance speech?
No, I haven't, to be honest. This is a film that was made on a shoestring budget with just a lot of heart, a lot of dedication, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, literally. And to see it get that recognition, that's everything.
Well, you certainly put your heart into it.
I did, I've actually said to Darius after we shot the film, if no one sees this, it's okay. I've gotten so much from this experience already. So it doesn't mean I don't want people to see it. I'd actually love it if people saw the film. Check it out, yeah.
And you should see it. He's unbelievable in this movie. It's a small film, but he makes it big. He's an incredible actor. And Gayle, one of the things that really struck me in that conversation when I asked him, when did you start acting? And he said, in a way, I've always been acting. And he's had to, in effect, to cross cultures growing up in England.
Listen, I saw him in the night of on HBO. He was knockout in that. That was such a great series, and he was so good. But I like this, Anthony, where he says, "I thrive in places where people don't see me coming." Yeah. I always think it's always good to be underestimated and then over-delivered. It seems like he's done that time and time again.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned The Night Of, too, because that's a sensational series that I think a lot of people missed. All right, and you can hear more of my conversation with Riz Ahmed on today's CBS This Morning podcast.